We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
I tell you, it is frustrating, angering to know that we've got the Pentagon getting 1.8 to 1.9 trillion a year. That's more than the entire income tax. They're running our country into complete debt. The Pentagon at the top works for the banks. They see us just like some other country they're conquering. They have designed this entire surveillance control grid. They are provocateuring and creating white supremacist groups. They're demonizing the American people. They're surveilling Tea Parties and in the Fed rallies. They're rolling U.S. troops out against Tea Parties with sound cannons. They're openly saying they want to use microwave guns on us. They're massing all this force against us. They're openly announcing they're going to take people's pension funds and give the banks even more power to rape us under the new regulatory bill. They have the Republicans come out against the bill and say it's too tough on banks, so people get fooled and think it's actually hurting the big banks. It just lets the big banks take over the local banks. It's disgusting. And it's happening now. I want to go to your phone calls. Max Kaiser's coming up. False flag prelude. Clinton launches demonization campaign on OK City bombing anniversary. Another key article up at prisonplanet.com. Establishment exploits OKC bombing victims to push extremist threat propaganda. It is vital that you get these articles and get them out to everyone you know now. Not tomorrow, not an hour from now, now. Now, I'm going to read these articles on air after we take some phone calls. I mean, here's another one. CFR journalist calls Tea Party talk seditious. Here's another one at Infowars.com. Government preparing to stage domestic terror attacks. That's another key article. That's actually the Watson article on Infowars with a different headline because I asked Kurt to give it a headline more along the lines of the actual article. Yeah, this is the article to get out. Government preparing to stage domestic terror attack. 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 And I'm repeating that because we have seen the open psyop. For anyone tuned in, anyone aware, anyone informed, this is ridiculously obvious. We've seen all the preparation, psychological, military, physical, economic. They want to use Homeland Security and the Patriot Act against the American people. It was written for that. Read Section 802 of the Patriot Act. Read the John Warner Defense Authorization Act. Read the Federal Governors Association, the Governor's Council. Read the Belligerent Act in the Senate, saying that the military can direct the arrest of any U.S. citizens for any reason, for intelligence purposes, or for any reason designated by the president or his designates, and it says you can be arrested, given enhanced interrogation. That's terrorism. That's torture. That's torture. And an act of Congress is the only thing that can release you from prison. No judge, no jury, no nothing. I mean, do you understand the magnitude of what is openly going on here? They're taking over on every front. We are being criminally consolidated. We are being completely overtaken right now. They know you're angry. They knew you would get upset. They knew when they did this, you would speak out and try to take the states back peacefully, lawfully, legally, constitutional system. And so they've been quietly building and preparing terror attacks and bust to make it look like the American people are terrorists, and now they're openly saying, you criticize the government, you are seditious, you are a traitor, you are a criminal, you're going to bomb federal buildings. I mean, you think it's bad to have Democrats dressed up like Nazis and have the Congressional Black Caucus lying about being spit on and called the N-word in that staged event. That's a microcosm of the mindset of government, the Black Caucus going out in the middle of the Tea Party trying to start a fight. trying to keep black people from joining the rest of the American people, trying to keep us against each other instead of going up against the New World Order and the info war. How despicable is that? Well, you ain't seen nothing yet. The globalists will kill 1 million Iraqis. They'll blow a federal building up. You better believe it. This government will inject black men with syphilis in the Tuskegee experiment. You better believe they'll shoot some black people and blame it on the Tea Parties. This government, in thousands of tests, many of which killed our own troops, would spray uranium, plutonium, and nerve gas on our own troops, killing them just in drills. And you think anybody's safe? All the lies, all the criminality, look how bold they are. All these grassroots conservatives and libertarians are going, man, it's over for them in November. What do they think they're doing? Well, they've got all the bases covered. They've got the Republican leadership, who's now posing as patriots, set to go in. They've got that covered. But they are worried about real statesmen and leaders taking over the states peaceably. So they're going to blow stuff up and blame that on you, blame that on me. They're going to launch some new wars, so politically you'll shut up and do what the government says, circle the wagons because the country's at war. Only by understanding their game plan can we stop them. Only by growing up and admitting to ourselves how dire our straits are, and by getting, banner hangs on highways, calling into talk radio, starting your own websites today, doing your own YouTube videos. You don't know how? Get somebody at work to show you. You need to be ranting about this. In fact, get me Rob Jacobson in here. He was sick over the weekend, and he just got back, and he was asking what I wanted him to do. We're going to shoot a YouTube video that I'm going to post at the end of the show where I put out a call to arms in the info war to expose the false flag attack before they carry it out. And we may have hours, we may have days, we may have weeks. And if we get the word out, we can stop them from doing this. But all of you out there that think, boy, Obama screwed up. Boy, he's arrogant up there saying we should thank him for all the tax increases. Man, it's over for him. He's a puppet. And no, it's not over for him. Michael Savage, love him or hate him, is politically astute. And what did he say, back in last April? Pull up the date of that Reichstag speech for me. You can just pull it up on YouTube to get the date. I know we have it saved. Where he said, mark my words, the government is going to stage a terror attack, a Reichstag event. He's not stupid. He knows what they're going to do. He knows that when government does things that are unpopular and illegal and have got foreign banks robbing everybody, we're in a real depression, 22% unemployment. It's only getting worse. Now they're saying the stimulus didn't work. Like we told you a year and a half ago, it wasn't designed to work. It was designed to mass cash in the banks' hands, the big banks, so they could consolidate the smaller banks and shut down Main Street and then come in again and say, there will be no economic recovery if you don't do this. And that's in the news. That's another talking point. You better give us trillions more or we're going to have a depression. When we've been in a depression the last 2 years. That's their one trick. Terrorism. Psychological terrorism. How did they get the banker takeover bill, known as the banker bailout, passed? Saying there'd be blood in the streets, war in the streets, total collapse, total depression, if you didn't give the banks all that power. And for 3 or 4 days, Congress refused to do it because they were having 1,000-to-1 phone calls or more. Polls showed 99% against it. And so they came out and said, we're going to have a complete and total depression. It's from March 17, 2009. They said we're going to have a complete depression, and the stock market fell by a record rate, and then the Congress panicked and did what they said. That's terrorism. Now they're saying, don't protest us or we're going to say you're white supremacist. What does that have to do with anything? It's clearly fake and false and staged. And they've got their operatives everywhere doing it. Now they're saying, I sure hope we don't need a terror attack to make these Tea Parties shut up. I sure hope you don't cause this Tea Parties by doing what Americans are supposed to do, get out and protest and demonstrate and take their state legislatures back to say no to the feds that have been hijacked by criminals. We don't have a country. You know, they tell you, oh, be patriotic, do what the federal government says. Well, number one, that's not patriotic. But this isn't even a federal government. It's a bunch of whores bought and paid for by foreign interest. This is the big assault, okay? You think 9/11 was a big assault. You think Oklahoma City was a big assault. I'm telling you that every major mega attack gets bigger by an order of magnitude. What's bigger than skyscrapers blowing up in front of you? Three skyscrapers blowing up in the middle of lower Manhattan. What's bigger than that? A big fat dirty bomb, but that may not be big enough for these people. They want a hardcore revolution. They want to get the police and military so scared they'll go out and arrest Alex Jones and arrest other people, and Rush Limbaugh will have a heart attack, and Michael Savage will get a 1-week brain tumor. They will wipe us out. They will kill us, ladies and gentlemen. They'll pull me over, shoot me up with heroin, and kill a hooker and throw me in a hotel room. That's the kind of stuff these people do. They don't play games. They've dominated the world because they're ruthless and cunning and smart and powerful. They've taken over the planet because they're the most duplicitous, bloodthirsty killers the world has ever seen.